So there's two timelines that you can use, and they're kind of combined. So I'm going into Photoshop, going into new, make sure it's 72 for your resolution, make sure set the RGB, and then create. So I have a box here, and I want to create some sort of animated GIF. So I'm going to go into Window and select Timeline, and here's the timeline down below. So when this timeline appears for the very first time, there's nothing there. There's, it's just, there's nothing you can do. There is a button right in the middle. So the button says Create Video Timeline. If you click on the little downward arrow, you get a pop-up menu, and you can also select Create Frame Animation. And then once you select what you want to do, whether it's video or the frame animation option, this is actually a button that you press, so you press it, and now I'm in frame animation mode. So this is the frame by frame mode that you can use. So in this mode, the idea is you have frames, and the frames are associated with layers. If I click on the little box down here, it creates a new frame, but it doesn't necessarily create a new layer. But you can set this up in a way where each layer is essentially a frame. So I'm going to undo, and then up in layers, let's say I wanted to create some sort of a message with text or something. So I'm going to go and use my type tool, and I'm just going to do like maybe there's some sort of sale or something. Here I'm going to pick I'm going to pick this font I like to use called Bungee. And I'm just going to make this text red. And I'm going to scale up this as well. So I'm going to make it big. So I have the word on. In my layers, I'm going to duplicate this layer, the text layer, the type layer. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to drag it to the little box with the plus sign. So now I have a copy. I'm going to drag that out. I'm going to drag it again. Have another copy. And then for the second one, I'm going to double click on it, change the word. I'll change it to sale. And then for the last one, double click on it and change it to now. So if you look down here into my frames, let me see if I can make these frames bigger. Make the frames a little bit bigger so you can see them better. Does everybody see the frames down here, down below?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys see this?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
So right now, what you're seeing is in my layers, I actually have 4 layers, but all 4 layers are represented in one frame. But what you can do is you can go to your little hamburger menu in the right corner here, and then you can say make frames from layers. And you click on that. It'll basically take each layer and correlate it with a frame. So the background is frame 1, the word on is frame 2, sale is frame 3, and now is frame 4. And then if you look down below here, there's a little time selection. So it says 0 seconds, but I can change that to, instead of 0, let's say 0.2. So that's going to give this a little delay. 0.2, 0.2, and then you have your animation. So this is where you would create that frame by frame animation. You just hit play and there it is. So the key to this is to remember that each frame correlates to the layer that's visible. So that's what you have to remember. So when I click on frame 3, the visibility of sail for the sail layer turns on. Now, if I am on frame 3 and I turn on the visibility of the now layer, which is layer 4, then that becomes part of frame 3 as well. So the only thing that the timeline is doing is it's correlating the frame to the visibility of your layers. That's all it's doing. So yeah, it's a pretty cool kind of thing to have, you know, this ability to do this. I'm going to turn off now. But you know, you can do some other things with this. You know, if you want to have fun with it, you can go ahead and start to duplicate more of these layers and do other things. So I'm going to duplicate sail. You can drag it down to the little box with the plus sign. What's even faster though in Photoshop, and I know we've gone over a little bit of Photoshop, but not a lot, is just remember this shortcut is Control J. So Control J is the way to duplicate a layer, or if you're on a Mac, Command J. So it's a really quick way to do it. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to hit Control J. So now I duplicated that word sail a bunch of times. And if you notice now, it kind of affects the frames. So you might have to go through these frames now, because duplicating the layer that said sail is kind of adding additional layers, and it's kind of changing the frame order or how the frames correlate with the layer order. So I'm going to have to go back here to sail. I want that to be on. I'm just going to have to change the visibility of the relationship between the visibility of the layers to the frame. So I'm going to go frame 2. I want that to be sail, but I don't want it to say on. Frame 3, this is where I'm going to start to experiment a little bit. Frame 3, I'm going to go to that sail copy, but instead of it being red and in that position, maybe I move it. So I put it over here. And then maybe I change the color as well. So you can go to image, and you can go into, I'm sorry, you go into, I was going to image and going to adjustments. And actually, one of the things I want to do first is I want to right click on this layer with the word sail. I want to right click on it, and I want to convert the text to just a regular image. So right now, really the only way to change the color is for me to actually double click on it, change it up here. So I'm changing the color of the type. I guess I can do it that way. I'll do it this way for now. So I'm just changing the color. So that one's blue. There's another way to do it, but I'll talk about that later. I don't want to overcomplicate this. So frame 2 is the red sail. Frame 3 is the blue sail. And now I want to create another frame, and maybe this frame has the word sail in green. But I need to add another frame. So I'll go down to my timeline, add another frame, click on this third sail copy over here, double click on that, and then make it green. Are you guys following this? Okay. And then it's a bright green. And then I'm going to move it as well. I'm going to move it somewhere else. And then I'm going to go to the final frame, and that should just say now. So I'm just going through each frame and turning off the visibility of the layers that I don't want to be on that frame. So now that I have this, if I hit play on sail, then now kind of the word sail kind of blinks around. And maybe for an interesting effect, I can even make this go faster by taking off the amount of time that disappears down below each frame. And now when I hit play, sail kind of blinks around like that. So that's the idea with using the frame by frame animation in the timeline.